Retirement was supposed to mean freedom from alarms, early commutes, and blurry-eyed mornings filled with responsibilities. That dream was simple. Sleep in as long as the body desired, wake up feeling refreshed, and start the day at a reasonable hour, perhaps even with the luxury of rolling out of bed at 9 a.m. But the body, trained by decades of rigid schedules, had no interest in adapting to this newfound freedom. On the first morning without an alarm, with no responsibilities waiting, the eyes snapped open exactly at 4:57 a.m. No gradual wake-up, no peaceful stretching, just immediate, unwarranted alertness. And the first instinct was to roll over and go back to sleep, but the body refused to cooperate. The brain had already activated. Thoughts raced in, uninvited, filling the silence. There was a vague sense of urgency, as if somewhere something important had been forgotten. Was there a meeting? An appointment? A deadline? No, just an empty schedule and a bedside clock that made a mockery of the idea of sleeping in. Trying to resist the wake-up was pointless. No position felt comfortable. The pillow was too warm, the blanket was subtly suffocating, and then came the worst realization of all. It was impossible to stay in bed any longer without making a trip to the bathroom. Once out of bed, the fate of the morning was sealed. By 5:15 a.m., coffee was brewing. By 5:30, the newspaper had been read in its entirety, including the obituaries, just to check. By 6, the television was turned on, offering nothing but reruns and overly enthusiastic morning show hosts, discussing topics of no real importance. Nothing was open, no emails needed answering. The house was silent. The rest of the world was still asleep. A walk outside seemed like a reasonable way to pass the time, but the neighborhood remained lifeless. No one else shared this unfortunate affliction. The streets were empty, save for a few squirrels and the occasional jogger, those rare individuals who willingly chose to be awake at this ungodly hour. Retirement was supposed to be a time of relaxation, but instead, it had become a new kind of insomnia. The body had been programmed too well, trained by years of routine that could not be undone. Sleeping in was no longer an option. It had become an unattainable dream. Eventually, the reality set in. If the body refused to sleep, the only option was to embrace the early mornings. The quiet hours before sunrise became a ritual. Coffee, reading, staring out the window with a look of deep contemplation, even if nothing particularly deep was being contemplated. There were certain advantages. Waking up before everyone else meant a head start on the day. There was no competition for hot water in the shower, no distractions, no interruptions. By the time others stumbled out of bed, groggy and disoriented, half of the day had already been conquered. And of course, there was one great benefit to waking up at the crack of dawn. By noon, it was completely acceptable to take a nap.